So let's say you're in the key of C major. So here's our dominant chord, the 5 chord. And as we know, that resolves to 1. And let's do a 1 chord like this. It's just piano music, not worried about exactly which voice goes where. Okay, so and as you know, Roman numerals if you're in C major. So this would be 5 going to 1. And as we also know, there's a special relationship between 5 and 1, right? So earlier this semester, when we were on campus, we studied the cadences. So, you know, this would be a PAC, actually not a PAC, right? This would be a IAC because it didn't end on the melody on 1, but this would be an authentic cadence, 5 to 1, and it's in root position. It would be the root position IAC, root position 5 to root position 1. And so this is a special relationship between these two chords. So it has a syntactical or grammatical function. The function of the cadences was to end a phrase, but it also confirms what key you're in. So this is not just any two chords. As we remember from our discussion of cadences, there's a special relationship and a special syntactical function when you go from 5 to 1. Okay, so let's just examine what happens in this 5 to 1. So there's again, the root motion goes down by 5th. There's a leading tone that wants to go up, may or may not get to go up if it's in an inner voice, but the leading tone wants to go up. And now, especially if it's a 5-7 chord, right? And now here, I'm going to, unfortunately, try to see if I can do 5-7. And I don't know that I'm in the right font. So we're immediately going to start where I start battling with the font. There we are. I'm in the right font. Okay, so 5-7 to 1. Now, another thing that we all remember from part writing is how the 7th wants to resolve down by step. So this chord has a powerful need to resolve here. And if we play it, let's go ahead and play it just for a second. And let's see, I have to turn the sound back on. And I think it shouldn't have to load. I tried loading this right before class started. So let's see. 5. Yeah, it goes to 1. It played it short for some reason. So we can hear the root going down by 5th. We hear how the 7th wants to resolve. And turn the sound back off then. Okay, now, so what we're talking about now, so this is a dominant. We remember 5 means a dominant. So this is the dominant going to the tonic. However, what if our target for this syntactical function is not, I'm looking for the rests. So I'll just do it this way. So ignore this pitch for a minute, but let's focus on the target. What if your target is not 1, but let's say your target is something else? So I'm still in C major. So this would be 2. So my target would be the 2 chord, but the 2 can have its own dominant. So now I'm going to make this C sharp. That's the important thing. And so this chord now is the dominant of D minor. And so we would write that as 5 of 2. So this is because it's the same function. And, you know, for instance, so the leading tone wants to go up and all the root motion down by 5th. So everything that happened with 5 going to 1 can also happen with 5 of 2 going to 2. Now you may say, why don't we just call this 6? There's several reasons for that. One is that the capital 6 usually means 6 in a minor key, which would be the flat 6, remember? So there's that sort of technical aspect of what does uppercase 6 mean. But it is possible to have an altered chord. In Theory 3, we'll talk about chromatically altered chords. It would be theoretically possible, if this was Wagner or Mahler or some kind of very chromatic music, to have an altered chord, which would be major 6. But not in this case, not when it's going to 2, right? In this case, it would be functioning as 5 of 2 and not 6 because of its context, because this context of the 5 going to 2 is such a strong syntactical function. Now, some people don't like this. but it's how music works. And you may ask, how do I know when this happens? Well, you know, because this was a chromatically altered chord. This was not just the normal 6, right? 6 should normally be minor 6. So as far as the way we're talking about it right now, how you can think about it is when you have a chord that is chromatically altered, and if that resultant chord is 5 of something that is in the key you're in other words, D minor is in the key of C major, and this chord was chromatically altered to create a 5 of something that's in the key signature, like 2, then that's going to be analyzed as a 5 of 2 rather than as a 6. And especially if it actually goes to 2, then case closed. It's definitely 5 of 2. But it doesn't even have to go to 2. Even if this 2 wasn't here, this chord all by itself would be 5 of 2. And even more so if it actually had the 7th on it, right? Because then that makes it an even stronger secondary dominant. So let me just get rid of these 2 for a minute. So then, of course, that would be analyzed 5, 7 of 2. Oops, sorry, not of that 2, of minor 2. Right. Okay, so again, if it has the 7th, then that makes it an even stronger pull towards the 2, which is where it's headed. So it would be 5 of 2 all by itself, but by being a 7th, it makes it even more clear. And if it's, as I said, if it's a 7, 5, 7 of 2, and it's actually followed by 2, then there's no argument whatsoever that that would be 5, 7 of 2. Okay.